everyone. Welcome to Encinas Unfiltered. Off the top, I want to say congratulations to Fabian. He's now the double champ at 170 pounds. For the amateur, he has the 559 fights belt and the camo state belt. These are many passes my wife and I were able to go. And thank you to 559 Fights for hosting us. It was an awesome experience, and I was glad to meet you all. Most of you guys met me without my sunglasses, so that was kind of cool too. But this week, we got Week 17, fantasy football. Mind you, I just want to be fully transparent. We are doing this on Monday, so the Green Bay game is happening right now while we're filming this. So the odds are subject to change, and we're going to kind of go from there. So a lot of this is we're kind of just assuming no one gets hurt, right? Let's just assume no one gets hurt, and we'll go from there. It's already past halftime. But if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. And if you want to see everything going on in Encinas Unfiltered related, go to www.encinasunfiltered.com. There you can see our picks of the week. You see our social media links, our merch website, and also everything else that we have going on related to the Encinas Unfiltered network. All right, I'm going to hop into it. Starting at quarterback this week, I like Baker Mayfield versus Carolina. As we keep kind of beating the dead horse, I feel like on this every week, Carolina's defense is pretty trash. Their offense is kind of picking it up. I mean, I like Chuba Hubbard.
They're getting
but Baker Mayfield is slinging the ball. He's getting the ball where he needs to get to, and especially going into fantasy football championship week, you should feel pretty good if you have Baker Mayfield to be starting him. I think he will put you up a solid amount of points, 20 plus. Next, you're starting Sam Darnold. And Sam Darnold's one of those guys where he had a good first start, like a first couple weeks, kind of slowed down a little bit, and then he's starting to pick back up again. He's thrown for 5 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns. He's really connecting with Justin Jefferson, and he's getting really primed for NFL playoff football. But for fantasy purposes, he's been scoring 20 plus. So I do like him against Green Bay. Even though Green Bay has a good defense and it's a divisional game, he has shown that he can still get the ball and slinging it around. And just because they have so many weapons, I do think this will be a higher scoring game, in my personal opinion. Sitting, and I know this might be a little controversial, and this one might, to me, it's a boomer bust. Just call for what it is. I'm sitting Jared Goff, and yeah, I'm a Niners fan, so I know the Niners aren't the greatest, and I could see how you would want to start him. I just feel like they're going to be running the ball a lot because that's where a lot of teams have been finding a lot of success on this is by running the ball. And that's where most of our injuries are, is in the front. So because of that, I just don't think Jared Goff puts up a bunch of points this week. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is a great start this week, especially with David Montgomery out. He got a lot of work and basically all the running back work. So because of that, I feel like you feel very comfortable with starting him this week at running back. But as far as quarterback with Jared Goff, I just think it's too risky with everyone playing besides Campbell because, fuck that guy. But anyways, and you're sitting Mahomes. So Patrick Mahomes, high ankle sprain, and I'm going to say it like that because he didn't look like he had a high ankle sprain when he played last week. But he's playing against Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh still has a really good defense, and it's hard to beat Pittsburgh with the terrible towels going. I just don't like that matchup for him. I don't like his receivers, besides if your name's Xavier Worthy. Shout out local boy. Mm-hmm. Happy for him for his week last week, but just in general, their team, they're not going to be running the ball very well, and I don't really think they're going to be throwing it very well. It's going to be a low-scoring game, so I just don't like that for your fantasy playoff matchup. Honestly, if you're a Patrick Mahomes owner and you happen to have Baker Mayfield, he might be a better start. And honestly, I'd probably start Jared Goff over Patrick Mahomes as well. X, you got starting a quarterback this week.
So disclaimer on some of these picks, since it's the last week, I wanted to do kind of a little bit of some spicy picks. Some that are, a little, you're like, are you sure? Yeah. Let's go.
Well, I just figured whoever is in the championship is probably going to have a decent team at this point to even get there.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So this is but go for it.
Yeah. If injuries are going to kind of hit you a little hard, maybe it happens. These guys might be your random little, good ones to go. You'll see them sprinkled in there. I won't call it out. I'll let you be the judge. But starting first one is the boy Herbert against New England. New England still is just not very good. It's still a Harbaugh coach team. You know what I mean? You've been starting a lot of people against New England all year. It ain't going to stop now, to be just cut and dry with it. Next, you're going to start the boy Bo Nix going against Cincinnati. I'm expecting that one to be a shootout. I'm expecting both offenses and defenses to do big things. Points might be high. I kind of got a little bit of faith in that kind of being a thing. So I'm kind of excited to see how Knicks is going to do, and we'll go from there. Denver has a good defense, so the defense will keep them in it. So I think there's a lot of potential. I mean, last week
the Chargers, and he started off hot, and then I think Colby, Colby's not going to be on this week. Caveat, or just a heads up, due to time. That's on me. But he texted me. He's like, "Bo Nix looks good," and then he's like, "I hope I don't jinx them." And sure enough, Bo Nix absolutely fell off in the second half. So I was like, "Well,
I want to erase last week from my mind 100% because last week was bullshit." But we will save that for later. Anyways, so you're going to sit the boy Cooper Rush against Philadelphia. This one kind of seems a little bit like a given. However, we don't know yet how Jalen Hurts.
That's right.
We're not gonna talk about Jalen Hurts right now. We're gonna
we're gonna talk about it at the end. Don't worry.
I know. I know.
Don't worry.
We both know. Anyways, we don't know how that injury is gonna play out. So that might help him, but you still got Saquon. You got a bunch of weapons. You could put anybody back there at quarterback. As long as they're competent and can read a hot route, I mean, you're going to get Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown the ball, really. So, regardless, I would sit Cooper Rush. Not a good matchup to me. Then you're going to sit Geno Smith against Chicago. Geno Smith did a good job last week. I will give that a lot. Pretty good handful of my picks were a little rough. Disclaimer, I did start Baltimore's defense because Pickens was out. So that ended up benefiting me, but apparently not good enough. And we will get to my chaotic rant about that later. Geno Smith against Chicago. I hate Chicago. I hate Chicago with a passion. Chicago screwed me. And, I am one for a vendetta and to hold a grudge for a bit of time. Anyways, so I really don't like Chicago. However, Chicago's defense is good. And Geno Smith is always ready for that downhill game all the time. And I think that this is going to be the one for that.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I just don't know how much to trust Bo Nix. I mean, but he has shown flashes where he can be very good. So I will give you that. It's just more about what kind of Bo Nix is going to show up, right?
I just think it's going to be a shootout. And I think that they're not going to rely on the run very much because they don't really have a very good run game. And so I think that Bo Nix's ceiling is very high because he's going to have a lot of opportunities. So he might not be the best when he plays, but he's going to have a lot of opportunities.
I'll tell you what, I think they lose out unless Kansas City decides to sit Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce in week 18.
I mean, to be honest, dude, like Travis Kelce right now is kind of a decoy name. To be honest, he's not really putting up like huge numbers.
Like sitting their starters.
Yeah,
because I saw a thing on
the
network that we can't name. They said, or maybe it was on a different podcast. They're like, imagine if Kansas City, because you don't want one of the hottest offenses right now, not named the Lions, to go into the playoffs. All Kansas City has to do is throw a game against Denver, and then Denver goes to the playoffs. I would argue I would rather play Denver in the playoffs than play Cincinnati.
100%. 100%.
So I just thought that was
a free win.
Yeah.
Free win right there, boys.
Take on that. But starting at running back, I'm going to continue on this train of starting Tampa Bay players. You're obviously going to start Bucky Irving against Carolina. Carolina's defense, like I said, absolute garbage. Bucky Irving came back from injury and just kind of picked off where he left off. And he's been scoring a lot of points, man. I mean, I think it's been like 15 to 25 is what I've seen, 23, something like that. So Bucky Irving has a great matchup. I think they're going to run the ball. And when they're not running the ball, obviously Baker Mayfield's going to be throwing the ball either to Mike Evans or McMillan or anybody. I mean, he's an absolute fantasy monster this year. So look for that. And then you're starting Jonathan Taylor. And I know Jonathan Taylor's a kind of a higher end running back. So Jonathan Taylor had an absolute monster week last week. Cost me my fantasy championship shot. I think he put up like 39 fantasy points, something crazy like that. But he's playing against the New York Giants. And if there's anything that we learned this past week is the New York Giants are the worst franchise in the NFL. And because of that, I just think Jonathan Taylor's going to have an absolute monster of a game, and especially leading into your fantasy championship, but you probably have him. you should
Yeah.
absolutely start him and feel very confident.
I hate the Giants. I hate the Giants with a passion. I really, really hate them, and I don't wish ill will on them, but I hope when they get up in the middle of the night, they stub their toe at 3 a.m.
Or step on
really
a
hard.
window.
Yeah, really hard, like full body weight.
Sitting. I'm sitting Dowdle against Philly. I just think Philly just has a really good front line. You got Jalen Carter. I think Cox is still there. Their defense has been pretty good for the most part. Even though it's a divisional game, I just don't trust a backup offense to really do anything. I think they're going to be one of those teams that doesn't fall into that trap and just let CD get 10, 11 catches for the game. And when they try to run the ball, it just isn't going to happen. So I think Dowdle does not have a great matchup. And if you have him, I would not be wanting to start this week. I don't feel comfortable doing that fantasy championship. And then I keep saying this, and I'll keep saying it again. I still see people start these people, and I don't understand why. You're sitting Kansas City running backs. They are not running them. They have two guys, 1A and 1B. They're not putting up David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs numbers. So it's not worth starting them, especially when they're splitting carries. And they're playing against Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh, so it doesn't make absolutely no sense, especially with your championship on the line. You're better off looking at a better matchup or better options of someone else who is available, and there are people who are available. Actually, you're starting a running back this week.
At running back, I like Pollard against Jacksonville. I don't really put Titans on here because I don't trust them, but Pollard has shown to be good for fantasy purposes. He does have a nice way of breaking out little 20, 25 yarder runs. I know Spears had pretty good outing either last week or a week before. You know, when you're just playing for a draft spot, you know, you're not really looking at what they're doing a whole lot. But I think that Pollard has a good matchup against Jacksonville. Yes, it is a division game, but Jacksonville is a dumpster fire just like Tennessee is. So it's just you're essentially going to be watching a bum fight. You know, you don't want to watch it, but you're going to. That's kind of what this is. So Pollard's got a good chance, in my opinion. And then I like Josh Jacobs against Minnesota. I think that, if you were watching a little bit of the game today, you watch Josh Jacobs pull off his best Derrick Henry impression. Did a pretty good job at it. So Josh Jacobs is, medium tier running back, but for some reason I got a weird special place in my heart for him. I don't know why. I never end up with him, but I always try for him. It's kind of weird. I don't know. But I do like Josh Jacobs.
Medium tier running back? Really?
Oh, yeah.
I would put him up there with Derek. Not as good as Derek, but like the tier, like he's top 5 running back.
No. Derrick Henry's in superstars category.
I'm saying
bro.
top 5.
He's not
top 5.
Even in high tier.
Derrick Henry's not better than Saquon this year.
What the?
But look at the stats.
Bro. Saquon all of a sudden just started doing something because everybody's afraid of everybody else.
Talking about this year. Not talking about past. I'm talking about this year. Josh Jacobs is the top 5 running back, my guy.
Josh Jacobs has been leaned on a lot. So, sure, you know what? For the sake of the argument, we'll put him in high tier. But I'm not going to put him at superstar. I'm not putting him there. Superstar is your Derrick Henrys, your Saquons, your Kamaras.
Christian McCaffrey's been healthy.
No. I told you Christian McCaffrey was going to be garbage this year.
Yeah, I heard.
For those of you who listened, you're welcome. But anyways, Josh Jacobs against Minnesota, going to be a good game for him, I think. And also your PPR leagues, it's going to be really good for him. I think he's going to get a lot of catches out the backfield, so that'll end up helping the fantasy points quite a bit. All in all, he should be a good matchup. Sitting, you're going to sit Najee Harris. I hate Najee Harris. I don't know why. Because, well, I know why. It's because he's not a good running back. I don't care he's a starter. Good for him. Cool. Isaiah Pacheco starts right now and he sucks. So what are we doing? Okay. Najee Harris is not good. If you have Najee Harris, if you drafted Najee Harris, especially if you drafted him even in your top 5 picks, you really misjudged that because Najee Harris is absolute garbage. He is not good. He's like teetering between low tier running back for me and mid tier running back for me. Like, he's not good. I laugh at people that pick him up because he's bad. And he's showing why he's bad. And he's going against Kansas City. Kansas City's a stingy defense. Even if they sit their starters, I still don't think Najee Harris is going to do that good of a job.
It'll be week 18. It won't be week 17.
Exactly. But regardless of it, I mean, I don't like that matchup. I don't like Najee Harris. Not a good one. Then you're going to sit Saquon Barkley against Dallas.
Ooh, I don't know about all that.
Now, why are you going to sit the boy? Simple, dude. Simple. It's because they are going to save him for playoffs. Simple as that. He has shown before in a game when he was dominating, getting mad points, he wanted to give the love to the other running backs. And I think that is going to be a factor in this game. Philly doesn't need to win. Not really. So, I mean, what do they need to win for?
To possibly give the first seed if Detroit loses again.
Bro, Detroit ain't going to lose. Detroit ain't going to lose.
You can't assume. You know that.
Detroit ain't going to lose.
Any given Sunday, dude.
I agree, but Detroit ain't going to lose. Detroit is not going to lose. So, in my opinion, I would really give 0 fucks. If I was a coach, I would give 0 fucks because I know we're not going to make the 1 seed. So I'm going to keep my players healthy. I know we're going to dominate through the playoffs. We're going to get at least championship level, if not Super Bowl. So let your boy rest a little bit. See what you got in depth. And I think that that's going to be a factor here more than people think.
Sorry, I'm currently looking up the NFC standings.
Mm-hmm.
So the Lions are 13-2.
Yep.
The Vikings are 13-2.
Mm-hmm.
And the Eagles are 12-3. So
what are you playing for? Exactly.
I mean, you're playing to hope that one of those teams loses, which the Green Bay Packers can beat the Vikings. And the Lions, I don't think the Niners should beat the Lions, but I don't know who they play next week. But I'm just saying, I think most teams play up to week 17 and then they'll rest week 18. So I think this week you'd be fine. That's just
I think they got a reality check when Hurts got injured. That's what I think. I think that coaching staff got a reality check real quick. And like I said, if I was that coaching staff, I would be a little bit more safer. Am I still going to play Saquon? Yes. But is he going to have as much of a pivotal role? Probably not. That to me wouldn't make sense. Why would you want to risk a concussion? Why would you want to risk anything right now? To me, it doesn't make sense. You're not playing for anything. In my opinion, you're not.
I think it depends. I think it depends on the situation. For me personally, I just think they play one more game. I mean, obviously, if they're up by a lot, which I really don't think they're going to be up by a lot, and especially if Jalen's not playing, I don't see a world where they don't put him in there. But
like I said, they might still play him, but you're going to see that he's not as pivotal of a role, in my opinion.
I think he still scores 20, so I think you start him.
I think he'll do 15 or below. I think he'll do 15 or below.
We'll see. I don't think so. We'll just get straight into receivers. So you're starting JSN at Chicago. So even though you don't like Geno Smith this week at Chicago, JSN has been the best receiver on that team this year. And because of that,
I agree.
Especially coming out of the slot, I really like him. Chicago's defense, they're okay, but the Lions absolutely tore them apart last week. They got nothing to play for. They need a better pick. Caleb Williams isn't really doing anything with the ball either. The run game is pretty garbage as well. So because of that, I just think JSN gets enough PPR points, and he's definitely a receiver 2 or a flex for this week. And I would feel comfortable starting him going into your championship game. And then you're starting Brian Thomas against Tennessee. So even though Tennessee, they are banged up and they have a decent defense, Brian Thomas has absolutely been going off, especially the last couple of weeks with Mac Jones. I think he put up like 25 and 32 when I double checked it. So I really like his matchup. Tennessee's also has nothing to play for. Neither does Jacksonville, but I just think he'll be fine enough to start him as a receiver 2 or as flex as well this week. You're sitting all Atlanta receivers, and they're playing against Washington, and it's not because they're playing against Washington. It's just we got to see what Michael Penix got to do, and basically it was the Bijan Robinson show. And because of that, I just think they're going to heavily rely on that run game, and just like they did. And I don't think they want to. I don't know if they don't want to show too much, or they don't want to do too much, or maybe Penix is still kind of getting used to playing, being a starter. So because of that, until I see something, which honestly this should be your last week of your playoffs anyways, you shouldn't have Michael Penix. But if you had Jalen Hurts and he doesn't play and you need another quarterback, all I'm saying is to stay away from him and stay away from his receivers. I just don't think it's worth it. And then you're going to sit Shakir. So Shakir had a really strong start, started building some good repertoire with Josh Allen. Well, they're playing against the Jets. Not that matters because the Jets defense is hit or miss. But Josh Allen hasn't looked good the last couple of weeks. He hurt his hand 2 weeks ago. He came back into this game, didn't do very well. His hand was also bothering him. If you check it on the status this week, it says questionable. So his hand is bothering him. He hasn't done very well. He had a good couple weeks after he got engaged. Congratulations to him. But unfortunately, the rest of his team, his receivers and his tight ends are going to be feeling it. And James Cook had a hell of a game last week, so I think they're going to keep relying on him. So I wouldn't start him either. Actually, you're starting a receiver this week.
At receiver, I like the boy Worthy going against Pittsburgh. I like it because I feel like Worthy is due another big game. Worthy, I think that Andy Reid doesn't like to show that playoff playbook that he's got going on, that everybody believes that he has, and I do believe that he does have that. But I feel like they want to start to get him more involved, especially for playoff time, so that he's not really, so that he's kind of warming up to it, to being a big playmaker there. So I like his opportunity. I think his ceiling's really high, and I think he's got a good shot. Then I like the boy Pittman going against the New York Giants. Why do I like this one? Because the Giants suck.
They do.
I hate the Giants. I hate them with the passion this year. So Pittman, I think, has nothing but upside. Yes, Richardson sucks. We know. Trust me. I know. But Pittman, I think, will have a good game. I think he's going to have nothing but opportunity to have a big game. I think, obviously I agree with you with Taylor. I think Taylor's going to have a big game. I just think that whole Colts offense is going to have a good game. Sitting, you're going to sit the boy Jalen Reed against Minnesota. Jalen Reed, I still see people starting him, which is weird. Especially come your championship game. You should not be starting that man, like at all. But I just had to put it in there because I have seen people start him. Let's just stop. You're also going to sit Cooper Kupp going against Arizona. I still don't like Cooper Kupp. There's too many questions going on. You can resort to the last video and I will tell you all about it. Arizona is not really that great of a team. However, I just think that Cooper Kupp is just sort of slowly phasing out. And for that, I wouldn't trust him come your Super Bowl game.
All right. Next, we got tight end. So this week, I'm starting Schultz against Baltimore. So Schultz, as we know, is on the Houston Texans. Tight end. He's been getting a lot more opportunities. And now they just lost Tank Dell for the rest of the year. I don't know if you saw that. That was super gruesome. It was so bad for that kid. Such a great talent.
Sucks. That whole receiving
PCL, MCL, bone sticking out. That poor guy.
That poor dude.
Yeah, man. That was rough. But
I hope a speedy recovery, and I hope that dude has zero effect on his game.
Yeah, that was a pretty nasty injury. If you want to go see that, definitely check that out if you don't get crazy over that stuff. But Schultz should get a lot more opportunity. Now it's basically Nico Collins and Schultz. You got Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon was kind of a non-factor last week. But Baltimore's defense, they're weird, right? I mean, they did really well last week. Yeah. Are they getting back in the playoff? Baltimore defense, I don't know about all that. But, I mean, they got to throw to someone. So I like Schultz. I think he has a lot of opportunities this week. If they're going to double Nico, that's where they're going to go. They're going to go with Joe Mixon. Next, you're starting Jonnu Smith. I finally hopped on the train, taking your boy, starting him. Cleveland.
Let's go.
This defense is fine. I just don't like their quarterback play. As we all know, as I said last week, the Jerry Jeudy show is now over. You can safely drop Jerry Jeudy. He's basically a non-factor at this point. DTR, the new starting quarterback, isn't very fantasy relevant or reliant for any of your players. I think Njoku had a decent game. I just don't trust it. I can't trust it with that kind of quarterback in there, and especially if you're even playing for third place too, right? Because there's people who are playing for third place to get their money back. I just wouldn't risk it. I think there's a lot more better options out there. But Johnny Smith should have a good game just based on the fact that Tua's throwing him a lot more. And like I said, DTR is so bad for Cleveland that he's going to have a lot more opportunities to get balls thrown his way. Sitting. So last week I was on the Zach Ertz train, but he has looked terrible. I don't know what happened. He just completely fell off. And Jaden is like not wanting to throw him the ball. But he's playing against Atlanta. Atlanta's defense kind of surprised some people last week. I mean, I think they put up like 21 fantasy points, depending on how your defensive settings work. So Atlanta showed, I mean, they're also playing a really boo-boo team in the Giants, but they showed that their defense still has some fight. Zach Ertz hasn't been getting a lot of looks or targets, so I just wouldn't trust him in your fantasy matchup. And you're sitting Freiermuth. Freiermuth's playing against Kansas City. Kansas City's the number one defense, I think, against the run. But also, I mean, as we can see in the Super Bowl, they absolutely handle George Kittle. So, I mean, that's obviously like the epitome of tight ends besides Travis Kelce and for name value and career-wise. So because of that, I don't think they're going to have any kind of issues with Freiermuth. They're going to shut him down. And like I said, I really am expecting this game to be very low scoring, so I wouldn't trust either of those teams. I know you like Worthy. Just for me personally, I wouldn't trust either of those teams unless I absolutely had no other choice. X, who's starting at tight end this week?
At tight end, we got the boy Andrews going against Houston. I like it. Andrews has figured it out. He's coming back. He's becoming relevant. Has about pretty much a touchdown almost every single game. At least definitely the past 4 games. Isaiah Likely starting to come back in a little bit. Not really taking too much out of Andrews' value, in my opinion. He's not. I don't think so. Andrews has been targeted quite a bit in the red zone, so you can feel comfortable doing that. It's kind of like a Montgomery Gibbs situation. Isaiah Likely's, kind of there to get them down the field, I guess, in a sense, and then Andrews is there to punch it in. Andrews has been doing good. I feel like we should ride that train, and I feel like you could feel confident running him in your Super Bowl game. Second, we are going to start McBride going against the Rams. I like McBride in this matchup. The Rams are a weird offensive team. They either show up or they don't. It's either this super low scoring game where you're pissed that you played anybody on the Rams offensively, or it's this blowout game where you're pissed that you put them on the bench because you couldn't trust them. So I feel like McBride has a lot of upside going against the Rams defense. I feel like he's going to be pretty solid there. Sitting, you're going to sit Goddard against Dallas. Don't like that matchup. Dallas, I still like Dallas's middle linebacking core. Even though their offense is actually figuring it out. Dallas actually isn't really a bad team. They just took a while to figure it out, and they figured it out too late, is I think what ended up happening. But Goddard going against Dallas, I don't like that matchup. I don't feel safe. Goddard has been very good all year. So you're pretty safe to let that dude go. Also, Pitts. I still see people starting Pitts. Pitts is garbage. Pitts is bad. Pitts could not catch water in the fucking ocean. He is terrible. He is absolutely terrible. He can't catch anything. That's the reason why Penix had a pick. Because Kyle Pitts is garbage. He has bricks for hands. I'm pretty sure his hands are worse than mine. I don't have very good hands either. These things are like bricks. They're not soft at all. They're terrible. But Pitts, I think, has worse hands than I do. And he made the NFL. So I'm starting to think maybe at my ripe age, I still got a chance.
I don't know about that. Come on.
Dude, no. He's terrible, dude. Absolute garbage. He's going up against Washington. Washington's a good team. So I'm not buying it. I'm not buying that one.
You want to hear an interesting stat? So Trey McBride this year, 92 receptions, 958 yards, no touchdowns. I
know. I saw that.
Last year, he had 81 receptions, 825 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
Ain't that something, dude?
And Prevere before that was a rookie. But
I feel like this is going to be the
how
time,
talented
dude.
he is. And when he left the locker room, he's like, "We effing suck." That's what he said. Well, he said the word. He just like, "We suck," and then walked out. And I was like, Dude, that sucks when you're I would say he's the top 5 tight end this year, and then they can't get you the ball in the end zone when that's like literally what
he
you do.
needs to find a Jonnu Smith situation where an offense uses him. Like
Well, they use him,
to
they
his
just can't use him in the
potential.
red zone. Right.
Right, but that's a problem, dude. Like in the red zone, like your tight end, your big, tall, muscular lineman that can catch tight end is supposed to be utilized, dude.
Imagine if someone like Green Bay had like a Trey McBride, like
Oh
how nasty
man,
they would be.
dude,
But
if they
someone who loves to throw the ball.
dude, if they ran a Patriots type offense with
Double.
the dual tight end, you got Kraft and McBride on the other.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, dude, you would be dirty.
I would say the same thing for us,
team.
but we have Juice, so it's kind of like that's kind of like our other guy that we have. But
I think McBride would compliment.
I like
Kittle
him too. I just don't think we have the money for him either.
Oh,
but
no,
anyways, I just thought it was an interesting
for anything.
It was an interesting statistic to just think about. Just
because no, for sure.
No touchdowns, dude. That sucks. But anyways,
I think this will be the time.
What?
The boy will ball out when it matters. I think he'll ball out.
I mean, hopefully it's not up to him. It's up to if Kyler's going to get him the ball in the end zone or not. But with James Conner hurt, he might get the ball now. Who knows?
Yeah,
James Conner might not play next week. So starting at defense, you're starting Philly D versus Dallas. I kind of said it earlier. They have a great matchup. I don't think Dallas's second string offense minus CD Lamb is going to really do anything. Call it for what it is. A lot of those guys on the offense probably won't be a starter on other teams. So I think it would be fair to say that it's the second string offense. And because of that, I do think that would give more opportunities for Philly's offense. Obviously, pending if Jalen's going to be there. But either way, I just really like Philly D against Dallas. It's a divisional game. I don't think it would be that high scoring. And next, you're starting Miami D. So Miami D hasn't been the greatest this year. But because Cleveland's situation is so bad, they have a lot of opportunity to score a lot of points. And as long as they can do something, force a fumble, get interceptions, get some sacks, it's going to be readily available with a third string quarterback. Let's call him for what he is, who can't throw the ball, who probably throws the ball worse than Anthony Richardson at this point. That's what you have a quarterback there. So I think Miami should have a great matchup, and you could probably, if you're streaming defenses like X does, you'd be a decent pickup. They'd be a decent pickup this week for fantasy football championship. You're sitting Cleveland D for the exact reasons why I talked about Miami. Cleveland's going to be out there a lot. By halftime, they're going to start getting gassed out, and Miami has a really high explosive offense with Chain, Hill. Even though Jalen Waddle's out, they're still going to be fine, and they got Jonnu Smith. They're still going to be putting up a lot of points, and Cleveland's defense will be giving up a lot of them. And then you're sitting San Francisco defense. So even though I did say to sit Jared Goff, I understand that. I just think for me, it's like a big risk because you just don't know, right? I'm not saying the Niners are good right now. I'm not saying their defense is healthy, but Niners defense, sometimes they show up and sometimes they don't. I just think it could be a little risky. Even though I said Jared Goff, you shouldn't start him. I just don't trust San Francisco's defense either. There's too many questions on both sides for the quarterback and for San Francisco defense that I would try to stay away if I can, if I have a better option. But like I said, if you have a Mahomes and a Goff, you're starting Goff over Mahomes all day. That's just me personally. So, X, who you starting at defense this week?
Defense, I like the Chargers going against New England. That one should be pretty self-explanatory, right? New England, I think offensively, they're not that bad, but it's a Harbaugh defense, and we've seen what Harbaugh defenses can do. So I like that matchup. Indianapolis against the Giants. Giants suck. I hate them with a passion. And as much as it is terrible to say for the Colts, I hope they continuously win, get worse draft picks, and continue to suck in the future. You are going to sit Pittsburgh against Kansas City. Kansas City always finds a way to do it. And I know you wouldn't really touch that game very much. However, I think that Pittsburgh's defense is stingy enough to where it's going to be a super low scoring game. Then you are going to sit Chicago against Seattle. Chicago, I hate them with the passion as well. And I feel like Seattle is going to have a lot of opportunities because their offense is Chicago's offense is going to suck. That is going to give Seattle a lot of opportunities to screw them up.
Yeah, I will say too, just a note, like if you had Kansas City and Pittsburgh defense for I mean, if you did, that's awesome because they're two great defenses for the most part throughout the league, throughout the year.
Oh, yeah.
I would start Kansas City this week over Pittsburgh. I think just because George Pickens isn't there, Kansas City has the number one run defense, and the thing that the Pittsburgh Steelers love to do is run the ball, especially now that Pickens is out. So I think Kansas City will put up the more fantasy-wise. If you compare them fantasy score to fantasy score, Kansas City is going to have a better defense.
Maybe. I just don't think that it's going to be a super high-scoring game. So I feel like no matter who you choose, I don't think you're going to be wrong.
But that,
to be honest,
I mean, I think that helps if it's a low score.
I don't think so.
Right?
I mean, to a point, like it depends on your points. It depends on how your league does points. Honestly,
well, the standard, not us, but standard is that the more yards and the more points they score, the lower your score goes. So because of that, I would say that if that's the case, which is pretty normal, you start a team that's going to have like less points, like Denver.
I still like Pittsburgh. I would start Pittsburgh over Kansas City, but that's just me. So,
well, we shall see.
Yes, we shall.
Got all the boys here for Week 18. Oh man, that'll be interesting. I'll talk about that at the end. So next, we're going to go very quickly to the super early game odds. So remember, we're filming this on a Monday, and the reason for that is we usually film on Wednesdays, but Wednesday's Christmas, and then the following Wednesday is going to be New Year's Day. So I don't want to take X's family time away. I don't want to take my family time away.
Yes.
And we're going to bring Bevel on, and we're going to bring Colby on. So I don't want to take from all those. So we're filming on Mondays just for the next 2 weeks, and then we'll go back to our Wednesdays until football season, or playoffs, I should say. NFL playoffs is over. Because fantasy football playoffs should be over after this week.
Yes.
All right. First game, Christmas Day, 10 a.m. You got Kansas City Chiefs versus Pittsburgh Steelers. Great game. Would love. I'm probably going to have that on wall. I'm at my parents' house opening gifts because, I mean, that's what I'm going to want to do. Watch some football. So Kansas City is favored by 2.5 points, or open at 2.5 points. They're favored by 3. So the spread's 3.
Ooh.
The total's 43.5. I'm taking under 43.5 all day.
Yeah.
But I'm taking Kansas City at -3 all day too.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Kansas City as well.
Okay.
Yep.
Next game, 1:30 Christmas Day. You got Baltimore Ravens versus Houston Texans. So the Ravens are favored by 5.5 points, but the total's 46.5 points.
Ooh.
I'm only going under. Ooh, you gonna go over?
Yeah, I'm gonna go over.
Are you?
I am.
I would say just because they take the L's out and just like I don't know. I feel like
I don't
more limited.
I don't know.
Those are those weird games, dude.
That's a valid point. But Baltimore's defense is just not good.
Well, they did good last week.
I mean, yeah, but look, dude. Why do you keep bringing it up, dude? I don't want to talk about it yet. The wound's still fresh.
We're gonna talk about it.
The wound is still fresh. But regardless, I still think it'll be over. But obviously, we're going Baltimore.
Yeah, we're going Ravens at 5.5. I just think under. And also, mind you, Deontay Johnson just got picked up on the waivers by Houston today.
Fuck Deontay Johnson.
Dude's an
idiot.
Dude's an idiot. He wanted to go to the Steelers. So, all right, Thursday. They're still gonna have a Thursday night game. Wow. So we got Seattle versus Chicago. I'd call this probably the boo-boo game of the week until I get to a worse one.
Yep.
Seattle's favored by 3.5, but the total's 43.5. I'm taking the under, but I'm taking Seattle by 3.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Saturday. Oh, we got some Saturday games too. Okay. 10 a.m. Hey. We got Chargers versus Patriots. The spread's only Chargers by 4, which is crazy. I think they're going to win by more than that. But the total's 42.5. I'm going to go under on the total.
Yeah.
But the spread, I'm taking Chargers at -4.
I agree.
Okay, next game, 1:30. Got the Denver Broncos versus Cincinnati Bengals. Now, this is going to be a good game. This is probably my sleeper game.
Whatever it is, over. Whatever it is, I'm calling over.
49.5.
Let's go, boys. We're talking 30s up and down that board.
So, the Bengals are favored by 3.5 points.
Yeah, I'll buy that.
I'm taking the Bengals. I think Bengals beat them.
I'll buy it.
Okay.
I'll buy it, but we're going over, boys.
I'll go over.
Yay, let's go.
All right, 5 o'clock. We got still Saturday. We got Arizona Cardinals versus the Rams. Rams are playing at home. The Rams are favored by 5.5 points, and the total's 48.5 points. There ain't no way it's going over 48 points.
Under.
Divisional game, yeah. I'm going the under. I'm taking the Rams at -5.5.
Yeah. I'll buy into that.
Sunday. All right, we got 7 games, and then we got Monday night games. So Sunday, December 29th, we got the Jets and the Bills. Bills are playing at home. Bills are favored by 10 points. The total is 46.5. So I'm going to go under on the total. Yeah, I'm going plus 10 on the spread because I don't think the Bills win by more than 10 because when they played New England, which is also a divisional opponent, just like the Jets, they did not do good. And because of that, and with Josh Allen being hurt, and I don't really know what's going on with him, I think it's going to be closer than we think. But if you want to bet on the money line, I do think the Bills are going to win.
You know what?
That makes sense.
No, I agree with you, honestly.
Okay. All right. Next game, we got Tennessee versus Jacksonville. Ooh, that's the boo-boo game of the week. I take that back.
Yeah.
That is hot garbage right there.
Yeah.
That's not even on TV or Red Zone. They're going to put it on My 53.
Ooh.
Oh no.
No, that one might be so bad it goes on PBS.
Oh man. That one yeah. But anyway, so you got pretty close game actually. The spread's only 1 in favor of Jacksonville. -1. The money line's even. The total's 40.5. I'm taking under on the total.
Oh, under
I just
all
don't
day.
know. I mean, Mason looked.
I'm just gonna go Tennessee. Tennessee won the last matchup. I'm pretty sure.
You know what? Yeah, just because I think Jacksonville wants a better pick. So
yeah,
I think that's just where it's at. I don't know. Personally, I wouldn't bet on this game if I were you. I would just skip it and just move on.
No.
All right, next game we got Carolina against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is favored by 8.5 points. I think that's fair.
That's
a divisional matchup. The total's 49.5.
No. Under.
Both
we're
our
going
offenses
Tampa
are kind
Bay.
of explosive.
No.
Kind
We're going under. Under.
No, we are going Tampa Bay for
all
sure.
day. But we're going under. It's a divisional game.
Hey, give me the over on
we're
that.
Going on.
Give me the over on that because their defenses are trash. They're garbage.
Okay, all right. So we're just doing we're doing random stuff.
Oh, I got another boo boo game of the week for you. This might be a PBS doubleheader, dude. you got Las Vegas Raiders, who, by the way, just lost their number 1 pick in the draft and now are the number 6 pick. Congratulations to the Raiders. There goes the Sheduer. Shedor's gone. Good job. Good job. Way to get a win. So they're playing against the Saints. The Saints are favored by 1.5 points. I don't know how. The Saints are absolutely getting blown out from the last time I checked. The total's 39.5. I'm taking the under on 39.5, but I'm taking the Raiders because they already won 1. They can beat the Saints because the Saints don't have Kamara. They're rocking with Rattler. They look in shape.
I'm gonna run with that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Next game, we got the Colts versus the Giants. Giants are now the number 1 pick. Congratulations, New York Giants. You will forever suck forever. That's for Joe. That's the New York Giant Joe counter number 1.
I hate you.
So team. The Colts are favored by 8 points.
Colts.
A little high, but I think it's fair. I think the Colts will win. The total's 40.5. I'm taking the under because I don't trust that total.
Under Colts all day.
Colts by 8.
Colts by 100. Let's go.
Colts by 100.
I hate the Giants. I hate the Giants. I hate the Giants.
Next game, we got Dallas against Philly. So this is going to be a good game, in my opinion, if everyone can play.
Yep.
Philly is favored by 9.5 points. So I will say, I think if Jalen plays, yes. If Jalen is not playing, it's going to be a lot closer because I don't think Saquon can do it all.
Yeah, I think so too.
But the total is 43.5, and I'm going to take the under. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. 1 o'clock, 1:05. We got Miami versus Cleveland. Miami is favored. Excuse me. Miami is favored by -6.5 points, and the total is 40.5. I think I'm going to go over just because Miami has a good offense. I think that's what I'm going to do. But the spread is -6.5. I'm taking Miami for sure.
All right. Yeah, I'll run it with you.
All right. Next game, we got Green Bay versus Minnesota. Now, this is going to also be a very good game to watch. 125. Vikings are only favored by 1.5 points, and the total is 48.5. So I'm going over on points, and I'm going to take the Vikings because they're playing at home at 1.5 points. Okay. Next game, Sunday night, Atlanta versus Washington. Washington is favored by 4 points. The total is 47.5. I'm taking the under on that. I'm taking Washington. Okay.
Yep.
Monday night, this would have been a banger if everyone was healthy. We have Detroit Lions versus San Francisco. Man. Detroit's only favored by 3.5, which is crazy.
What?
Yeah, I'm taking Detroit.
Wow.
I mean, that's coming from an Irish fan. I'm taking Detroit. The total's 51.5. I'm taking the under.
Ooh, under.
Yeah. And they still have Kansas City favored to win the Super Bowl, which is crazy at plus 375.
Wow.
Yeah. So like I said at the top of this should be your fantasy football championship week 17. So for week 18, I'm going to bring all the boys on. I got Bebo, X, myself, and Colby coming on. We're going to be kind of just shooting the shit, talking about what we think for playoffs. It won't really be any starts and sits, so I'm just going to remind you, and then we're going to do some betting like usual. And it'll be filmed on a Monday, so it's going to be a little different and be out a little earlier, and then we'll resume after that. But we're still going to do the hot takes, so even though I couldn't bring in Colby, and I apologize to Colby, it just at the matter of time, he's 2 hours ahead of me. It's 8 o'clock our time now, so it's 10 o'clock over there. It's a little too late. But we still got some hot takes. X, I know you got some hot takes. I'll just start off with the first one that really, really, really upset me, and I'm sure it really, really, really upset you too. Jalen Hurts absolutely destroyed my shot. I literally, if he would have just played, I would have won my matchup and been in the championship. Mind you, I was like the 5th seed, and I came back from being almost in last place, so I mean, it was a long shot to begin with, but I had a Saquon, Jalen stack. I said I was a Eagles fan until week 17. I mean, I guess I still am because I'm still trying to compete for $50, but yeah, it sucked, dude. I literally woke up. As I turned on my phone, he'd already gotten hurt with a concussion. I was like, no way. I was like, already? I was just like, this is how the day's going to go. And then I played against Jonathan Taylor, James Conner, and Josh Jacobs. So it was kind of the nail in the coffin to my season.
That was so crappy, dude. The team I went against, the guy I went against, obviously hurt me, but I mean, so ultimately there was nothing I could do. I made all the right calls, management wise, so to speak. There was no my only bad one, I had Jameson Williams on the bench. Now, I was not going to start Jameson Williams over Puka. I was not going to start him over T. Higgins. You maybe could have started him over Addison, but Addison's been on a hot streak, so you're running that. So I made no mistakes. The Giants fucked me. Fuck the Giants with a passion. I hate them now. At least I hate them till the end of the season. I can learn to get over things, but still. I hate the Giants. The guy I was going against had Atlanta's defense, scored 33 points. Absolutely monstrous, dude. I had Baltimore. I was taking a chance on Baltimore. And I ran up 22, and I was like, "Ooh, Nelly, let's go, boys." And then I see 33. I was like, "You got to be kidding me." And then, so this dude, this was the best game he's had all year. And of course, it's when it mattered. It's when it mattered. So I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad about it, so to speak. I'm just frustrated about it. I'm not mad because there was nothing I could do. I just had to take that ass whooping like a man. So that's what I did. It was what it was. So that sucked. Jalen Hurts, obviously I don't wish concussions on anybody. I've had a concussion before playing football, multiple, a lot undocumented, I'm quite sure, which is why my head is so swollen. My head's so big because it's just swelling that's never gone back down. But regardless of that,
oh my God.
I don't wish that on anybody. Obviously, I hope I'm a speedy recovery. That just really sucked. It just this week or last week just sucked. It just sucked. And I hate the Giants. Yeah. I hate the Giants with a passion. I hope their next 3 first draft picks are busts.
Well, they might be in the Sheduer show, and that'll be interesting because I know he does not want to go there. So
and you know what? I hope the first thing and you know what? So I do not condone that, by the way. I do not condone what Eli Manning and what Phillip Rivers did when they requested trades. You're a rookie. Shut up. Enjoy that you're in the NFL. Enjoy that you even got there. Just because Deion Sanders is your dad doesn't mean shit. Okay? Whatever. The dude's not as good as everybody says he is. Okay? He's not this amazing God-sent coach. He's really not. And Bill Belichick will show him that once Bill Belichick gets into college, and he'll sit him down and show him where his place is, which is nowhere. But regardless, you are getting drafted. You're a rookie. You are a nobody. Do you know how much respect you're going to get from veterans, from real people in the NFL when they see you do that prima donna shit? They're going to say, go fuck yourself. But regardless, the thing about it, though, is that doesn't bode well. That doesn't bode well for you. I don't like that. I don't condone that. If I was a coach and that's what was happening, good. I don't want you, dude. That's disgusting. That's you're not an adult. You're not being an adult.
I will say this. I think on that situation, I mean, obviously it ended up working out very well for Eli, who went to the Giants. How funny. This is a big market team. That's essentially where he went and stayed there his entire career.
Right. Phillip Rivers did good too, but I feel like it wouldn't have changed even if they stayed on their respective teams that drafted them. I feel like it wouldn't have changed.
I will say this. Some quarterbacks only get so much of a time to show what they can do, but when you have organizations who are not building a culture of winning, it's hard to want to go play for an organization like that because you won't have an opportunity to earn more money after your rookie contract's over. And I'm going to just name a couple players who got drafted by crappy organizations and no longer are really, really relevant. You got Sam Howell, who wasn't bad. Mm-hmm. You got Desmond Ridder, who wasn't terrible, but I mean, did he really? I mean, Atlanta isn't the greatest. You have, I mean, Drake May's still there. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you gotta look at the rosters. I don't know a bunch of people off the top of my head. But like, I'll give you an example. Brock Purdy would have never made it in the NFL if he didn't get a chance with the San Francisco 49ers and had a freaking all-star cast. And look where he is at now, probably going to make between $40 and $60 million a year. So I can see an argument. I'm not saying it's right, but I can see an argument where you wouldn't want to play for an organization that's not trying to win. Whereas if it's an organization, like say it's Carolina and they're bad, but at least they're trying to get wins still, like Bryce Young is trying to win and they're actively trying to win, then at least they're trying to win something. But they're rebuilding, but they're trying to win.
But you want to be the guy that goes into a shitty organization and wins. That's what you want to be known for. Look at Jaden Daniels. Do you think Jaden Daniels was thrilled to be drafted by the Redskins, Commanders, whatever you want to call them? You think he was excited about that? No, he was not. No, he was not. Not at all.
But they built around him. They went and got free agent talent and was willing to spend the money on him. That's the difference.
Regardless, though, you want to be known as the guy that makes that organization win. It's as simple as that. You want to be that guy. If you don't want to be that guy, then you're going there for you're playing the NFL for all the wrong reasons. All the wrong reasons. You're just doing it for money. Like, bro, that's not hard to do. That's not hard to do. You could be a backup quarterback making millions of dollars and do nothing. Like, that's not hard to do.
But you're not making $60 million a year.
I mean, okay, yeah, that's
generational wealth. That's like FU money, right?
Oh, 100%, 100%. Right. But here's the thing: you're also not risking your body. You're not getting concussed. You're not getting your legs snapped. You're not taking a beating. You're not putting your body through that trauma. You're actually going to live. All that brain trauma is not going to come back, and you're going to be doing dumb stuff. You're not going to be pulling an Antonio Brown. Like you're not going to be going absolutely Fruit Loop crazy. You're going to be fine. And that's just facts right there. So I think that if you are a rookie in the NFL and you don't want to be great in the NFL, and the only reason why you're doing it is for money, that I think karma's going to come back and get you, and you're going to be nothing. You know, you're going to be the next Jamarcus Russell, dude. Like, you're not going to be much.
I don't know. Like I said, I can see both sides. Like, I understand where you're coming from, like the integrity part of the game, but at the same time, like I said, I think if all the organizations were trying to win and trying to build, I think Hard Knocks just kind of showed how that Giants organization was thinking, and they're very cocky and thinking that they can bring Saquon back, and Saquon did to a division rival. No questions asked. Like, that kind of just gave you an insight of how they're running their organization. So why is somebody going to want to go play there and potentially not be a starter in 2 years because you don't have anybody around you? Like, you need an offensive line. I mean, the Niners are a good example. I mean, I was like, I don't think Brock Purdy's our quarterback of the future. I think he's going to get paid because
No.
there's nobody else out there. But
Yeah.
it just goes to show you that if you have good frontliners and a good team around you, a lot of the mistakes of a lot of these quarterbacks and some of the intangibles that they may or may not have will be less exposed, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because Brock Purdy's not a round one talent, right? He doesn't run very fast. He doesn't throw very hard. He's a game manager. He's arguably worse than Alex Smith, and Alex Smith didn't have anybody there. But he was a good mentor to Patrick Mahomes, who's probably or is the greatest quarterback of this generation of players.
Of this generation, yeah.
Right, correct. And to me, the greatest of all time is Tom Brady. I mean,
it's Tom Brady. No
nothing
question.
against Joe Montana and Steve Young, but that's just the truth. And Troy Aikman.
No, that just is
what
it is, dude.
It's just it is what it is.
Because even when Brady was in the NFL, I liked Peyton Manning over Brady. I thought Peyton Manning was much better. That's why I say it all the time. Peyton Manning revolutionized the game, but Tom Brady was the greatest of all time.
He was the greatest winner of all time.
Of the game.
He knew how to win.
Yeah.
And he knew how to take less money, and he knew how to put the best offensive line around him, and that's why he was successful. Because when organizations are willing to spend the money and get the players, like the Commanders did that this year. They got Eckler. They got some really good pieces on their defense and their offense and made the team around him so that they're a playoff team. They were not going to be a playoff team.
But it does show that doesn't always matter. Sometimes that just matters on the skill set, because Caleb Williams had the most amazing wide receiver core around him than especially Justin Fields has. I don't really care too much for Justin Fields, to be honest, but Justin Fields was able to still win in his first time there at Chicago more than Caleb Williams was.
I think it's because Justin Fields is a little bit better and we just didn't realize it. He's talented, dude.
I hate to agree with it, but yeah.
You gotta remember, the Chicago line is so bad.
Oh yeah.
I mean, look at Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck could have probably been the greatest quarterback of all time, but he had such a terrible line that he was getting hit so much that he could just like, I can't do it no more. It's not worth it for me. And that's unfortunately organizations like the Colts, which is a great example, and their owner. The Giants showed that last year with the Hard Knocks. Who else is pretty bad? I don't know what's going on in Jacksonville. That's another weird situation.
Jacksonville is just a franchise team, so I
heard they might move to London, so I don't know how true that is, but that would be interesting if they do.
I doubt it.
I saw a rumor. Yeah. I saw another rumor after you had said it, but I saw another rumor, and I was like, well, I mean, it's not the most terrible idea. I mean, they're not the best team in Miami or in
That's because your FBI agent was listening on the phone and just tried to throw that into you.
Sent me some TikToks and was like, hey, this is happening.
But, hey, dude, my FBI agent's name's Greg. He's really cool. He's a solid dude.
But like I said though, like you look at Carolina, they're still trying to win, right? Because at first I was like, this organization is terrible. They got rid of McCaffrey. They're not trying to win. Well, now they're still trying to win, even though they can have a really good pick. They're like, no, we're not playing for picks. We're playing to try to build team chemistry and to try to do as best as we can and build. Yep. And the Bears, even though they're trash, they try to do that too. So I don't know. I just think it's a two-edged sword where you don't know. I don't know. Like if I was a quarterback, I'm not. But if I was a quarterback and I wouldn't want to go play in New York. Absolutely not.
I would because I feel like that would show your potential, because honestly it'll be the same thing as Saquon. Everybody knew that Saquon was good. It was just a matter of time before his rookie contract ended. Like, you know what I mean? You want to be the shining star, and when it's as they said on How I Met Your Mother, right? When Barney goes, it's the cheerleader effect. When a bunch of ugly girls surround themselves with a bunch of ugly girls, one pretty one will end up standing out, but then you put her next to a bunch of pretty girls and she's actually really ugly. Same thing. Saquon was around a bunch of shitty players, so he looked really good, and he was good, but you are going to stand out a lot more. You're going to stand out a lot more when you're surrounded by shitty talent.
And this year, I mean, he did prove that when he got a good offensive line, what it can do.
Oh, yeah, no.
Because you want to look at Jalen Hurts statistically, Jalen Hurts didn't do good this year. Like, he hasn't been crazy. His tush push is what really keeps him fantasy reliant.
Oh, yeah, running. No, 100%.
But his throwing, 100%. He's not Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes. Like, maybe
but at the end of the day, though, you surround yourself with bad players and you're the only one that's like kind of doing something a little bit better and a little bit good, that makes you look better. For
Well, I mean, look at
Saquon,
Brian Thomas
obviously,
this year. Brian
yeah,
Thomas is a good example of that.
yeah.
But
Calvin Ridley, in my opinion, is a prime example of that too. Calvin Ridley was surrounded by garbage, and then he goes to a team where now he's singled out. He's still surrounded by garbage, but now he's just a singularity, and now he's not as good as he was.
But you got to remember too, on the flip side, then you got guys like Devontae who are still really good and at a high level. But when you're on the Raiders, you ain't getting anything. And then when you go to the Jets and Aaron Rodgers can't throw for more than 300 yards a game, like, what are you going to do? Like, I mean, he's finally figuring it out, but the Jets are still losing. That's another crazy organization. Did you hear that the teenage son of the owner would decide on trades based on the Madden trade calculator of whether or not they were going to do it? I swear.
Bro, that does not surprise me.
You can go and see Pat McAfee's show where they talk about that. And I go, that is the craziest thing. And even you got Chad Ochocinco and Shannon Sharp talking about it too. It's ridiculous how dysfunctional that organization is. But when you're using Madden to draft players to decide who you're going to trade and what the value's for, that's nuts, especially coming from a teenager.
That's what happens when that's kind of like the Al Davis situation where Al Davis shouldn't have had any say in anything. You're too outdated. And now you got a kid that's too young that doesn't know what the hell's going on.
Right.
So you got to find that in-between spot. You can't have somebody too young who apparently is just going to run everything off Madden, and you can't have anybody that's too old that's going to run off of how things were years and years ago that are too outdated.
Look at Jerry Jones.
Jerry Jones, exactly. That's another example of too old, where the Jets kid is an example of too young. It is what it is.
It's like I said, it's just weird. I don't know.
The whole situation.
I personally, on this situation, I can see both sides. I wouldn't want to go to the Giants. I would rather learn behind a veteran quarterback than having to go play for the Giants. At that point, it's not even about the money. It's just having the opportunity to at least be known that I can at least be a starter at some point. Because even Mac Jones, unfortunately, was on the very bad Patriot team, and he got traded right away.
I get
to
it.
An even worse team.
Yeah, like I get it. I see it. But at the same time, too, when you're going to have your dad going out there saying, oh, wherever he goes, I'll make sure I have a hand in it. When you want to do all that, and then you have the same thing with Caleb Williams, where he's like, I want part ownership in the team that I get drafted to. Yeah, when you start doing all that, dude,
right?
It's garbage. It's garbage. It puts bad karma on you. It puts just all around bad things on you.
So just a reminder to everybody, Week 18, we are going to be filming on Monday, which will be the 30th. So we'll go through no starts and sits. And like I said, I'm just reminding everybody, because if you're like, where the starts and sits at? There's no starts and sits. Your fantasy league should be over. And if it's not, I apologize, but that's on you, not on us. And on the commissioner. And then we are going to do our football bets. And then our hot take section is going to be more of a collaboration, I guess would be a good word to use, with X, Colby, Bevel, and myself. I believe we're going to be seeing a lot of beef between X and Bevel. I know he said some things. X has said something. Oh, yeah. I just got off the phone with him before I got on here. So,
hey, you like to start. I'm not believing anything you say.
You said stuff.
I'm not believing anything you say. It's on the show, and
he watched it.
Good for him. Good for him. That's you stirring the pot, and I'm not biting. I'm not biting. Cast that line, brother. Cast that line all you want. I'm not biting.
Coming in, guns blazing, and we're going to see some hot takes.
If that's how he feels.
Bitching and complaining.
If that's how he feels.
And we're going to just talk about playoffs, what we think, seeds, and kind of just go from there and kind of just have a fun little episode with it. Shoot the shit with the boys for probably about an hour, maybe less. And then we'll go into football playoffs, and basically we'll just be covering playoffs at that point and just kind of sharing our thoughts about the games until the Super Bowl. And once the Super Bowl's over, it is what it is. It's done until maybe August or, I don't know, July, August.
Yeah,
whenever we decide to make our rankings again.
Probably after the draft.
For sure, see after the draft. I got to see who's starting and who's not.
Because, when it also comes down to it, too, the draft dictates where a lot of those remaining free agents end up going. So I think that's...
Yeah, I personally don't like to draft until, like, the end of
preseason.
No.
Yeah, Yep, I agree. You
That's
draft
fine.
after preseason, let the injuries take effect, let
Yep.
everything, let the dust settle. Let the dust settle.
Right. But thanks for sticking around. Like I said at the top of this, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Also, congratulations to Fabian again. I got to throw out the merch for him right there. Congratulations. We got the double champ.
boy.
We got the media pass.
Let's go.
Double champ 170. But go check out our website, www.encinasunfiltered.com. We got our picks for the week. You can see our social links. You can watch the episode directly from there. It's linked to our YouTube. And until next time, everybody, peace.
Later.